Welcome to the Live Wealthy Podcast with Dawn, where we are growing our wealth and our worth at the same time. You ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Live Wealthy Podcast. My name is Dawn Dahlby. I'm a certified financial planner, as well as a behavioral financial advisor, and the CEO of a multi-million-dollar wealth advisory firm called WELLthy Financial Group. And my mission, my purpose, my goal in life is to bring true fiduciary advice to all, no matter where you are at on your financial journey. And today I'm talking about money and couples and the financial harmony that we can have in a marriage and in a partnership, because money doesn't need to be a source of stress for couples. In fact, money and talking about money can actually help to bring you closer. Maybe you have different spending habits as your spouse, or you're looking to get on the same page financially with your saving and your future. You today are in the right spot. So I'm going to be talking and discussing really how we can, as couples and partners in a marriage, create this financial harmony instead of living in financial stress. Because financial harmony is so vitally important, because if you choose to be in a marriage, you are choosing to have a shared vision. A shared vision is your life plan and where you are headed in your life. That's what a true partnership and marriage is all about. What I'm going to be talking to you today about is how do we get on the same page with our spouse. The key points that I'm going to be delivering is really helping you understand the role of your core values and how those core values are actually a big part of your financial decisions that you make and your behavior on how you act. I'm going to talk about the differences we as couples have in our core values and also our financial values, and helping you understand where that actually comes from. I'm going to also help you identify, understand, and have better communication with your spouse around money. Are you ready to have this conversation and understand the topic of how we can turn friction into freedom with our money and with our spouse? You ready? Okay, let me start with my own personal story. One of my top core values is excitement. And excitement means to me is really being in a place where I can create a really cool, inviting, warm environment in my house. My husband's core value is one of his top core values is creativity and privacy. And for us, I should say, about 16 years ago, we were moving into our brand new house. And, 16 years ago, we had lots less money than we do today. And my core value of excitement means that it was a brand new house that my husband and I built, and I wanted to spend all this money on decorating and putting artwork up in the house. That was my core value, and I wanted to meet that with how I was spending my money. My husband, on the other hand, his core value of creativity and privacy is he just had built this man cave, this movie theater in our house for him to be able to enjoy creativity, movies. He's a musician. He likes to, record on his keyboards and guitar. And so he likes to be private. So it was like this man cave that we just built. And he was super excited about that as well. Well, one day when I was measuring for artwork, he comes to me and says, Best Buy's having a sale and we need a movie projector. And all I said was, okay. And the next day came and he showed up at our house with this movie projector. That was $3,000. And I about lost my marbles. Why? Because again, I was busy shopping for artwork and decor and all the things I wanted to do for the house. And I had a cart full of on my computer, I had a cart full of things I was ready to purchase, but I didn't purchase them yet because I just wanted to fully understand the plan. Well, he went ahead and purchased the projector because me saying okay for him meant it was okay for him to go buy this projector. And so we both got in a big fight. And I realized that I was so upset with him for buying that without properly communicating to me. But I was also upset with myself because at the end of the day, I was mad at him because I was being so selfish in what I wanted to spend my money on, my core value of excitement and what that meant to me. And he was so busy focusing on his core values and what he wanted to spend his money on. And we failed to communicate. And I actually was really upset with myself first and foremost, because when I took an emotional step back, I realized that I wasn't being fair and I was being selfish. We had experienced this spending friction, and through processing and understanding, we were able to come to an agreement of how we can actually spend our money. So if you hear nothing else from me in this episode today, I want you to understand that proper communication can relieve almost 100% of your stress with money being in a partnership or a marriage. And it's not just about the communication. Communication is not just talking. Communication is a combination of listening, but what communication really is understanding the other person and where they're coming from. What I want you to fully understand, if I want to give you today some practical tips on how to have better understanding and identification of who we are as individuals and better communication, I want to set some practical steps that you can apply in your life and in your marriage right now so you can remove the stress and you can focus more on that shared vision and what you want to achieve with your money and with your spouse in your life. There are 4 topics or 4 steps I want to bring you through. But to make this fun, as I love to put fun in finance, is that we need to, first of all, make the environment of having conversation and communication with our spouse in the best environment we can. So the environment is huge. What I'm going to first of all suggest is that everybody here creates financial date nights once a month. Financial date nights where you are creating a really cool environment, a relaxing environment where you can be together with your partner or your spouse and actually talk about money in a place that's non-judgmental, but it's safe, in a place where you're more curious versus trying to criticize, in a space where you're open to learning and understanding your spouse versus just blaming your spouse, and being in this environment where you're creating your communication in the lens of never saying I, in a lens where you are communicating more around the words of I feel versus you are doing. Example, you never start a stressful conversation with money with you spend too much money. You never start a money conversation with your spouse with you spend too much money. Instead, you start the conversation with I feel anxious when you spend more money than what we have, or more money than what we have in our plan. Okay? You guys, in life, proper communication where you're understanding the other person is the key to removing stress. And today we're talking about money stress. I am encouraging every single one of you to have monthly financial date nights with your spouse, where you are going to be communicating with I versus you. You are having non-emotional conversations about money. I have 4 topics, 4 steps, which can be your 4 first date nights. Like I'm giving you the things to talk about during these date nights that can help you get on the same page with your spending and saving. First and foremost, these 4 steps, the three of these steps are ones that you just set up once, you have a conversation about once, and you never have to have a conversation about them again. There's only one step that needs to be repeated time and time again. Okay? I'm giving you 4 date nights, right? Steps for 4 different nights of conversation that you can have, of which 3 of them don't need to be repeated. So you do 4 date nights. You're going to do topic 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then date night 5, date night 6 is just repeating step 4, topic 4 over and over and over again, because it doesn't have to be so difficult. What am I talking about? What is topic number 1 on your financial date night? First of all, each of you need to share your money story, like your money story from the past. Like, what is your first memory that you learned from your parents or whoever raised you about money? Like, what was maybe there was a conversation that you remember. Most of the times it's not going to be a conversation. It's going to be more of how you saw the behaviors of your parents operating with money. That's how we pick up a lot of things. And what we find is that our money stories tend to define how we're behaving with our money today. You have to understand your spouse's money story, because that's typically where the stress comes from. That's typically where they're vulnerable with their stress about money, and where you can learn to respect your spouse and fully understand where they're coming from. You know, my money story was I had a parent that didn't want to spend any money. So I had another parent that hid spending money and just went ahead and hid it from the other spouse, right? This mixed messages I got was don't spend money. And I got this other message where you can spend money, but you got to hide it, right? Very dysfunctional money messages. That's my money story. Like, what is your spouse's money story and what is yours? That's date night number 1, topic number 1. And that's all I want you to talk about. Then on the second date night, what I want you to do is, before you even talk about spending or saving and money, anything related to the dollar sign or numbers, is I want you to talk about your core values. And you each have core values, and many times they're similar and many times they're different, and it's mostly a combination of both of that. What I want you to do is if you don't have if you haven't done a core value exercise, I have one free on my website. All you need to go is to my website, and I'll link it here in the show notes. It's a core value exercise. In this core value exercise, all you're doing is picking your top 5 core values, and your spouse is picking out their top 5 core values. That's all you're doing. And remember this, is that the core values, when you're doing this exercise or you're reviewing the exercise you've already done on core values, is core values are things that you can't live life without. You don't want to do life without these core values. When you're doing the exercise or re-looking at it, make sure you're doing it underneath the lens of, these are things I don't want to do life without. Understand your core values and bring those to the table. Like, not do the exercise, but if you haven't done the exercise, do it before date night. But talk about your core values and what they really mean to you at dinner that night. The other thing is we have these core values, but we also have these financial values in life. Financial values typically come down to 2 things. It's like, what do you value financially? Are you a spender or are you a saver? Or are you neither of those things? Or are you both? Like, personally, I tend to be more of a spender, but because I've been a wealth advisor for 24 plus years, is that I've learned that I have to save. It's a non-negotiable. But spending's way more fun because I love to have a good time, right? Spending's fun. My husband, he's kind of not a spender or a saver, to be quite frank with you, but he's not a saver because he doesn't have to worry about that because I take care of that in the marriage. But if I had to look at his true financial values, it'd be more saving versus spending. Here's what I want you to understand. There's core values, there's financial values, but your financial values, which is the saving, right? Spending or saving, the saving conversation, because we know even if we don't like to save money, it's a non-negotiable, is that you and your spouse need to get on the same page with your saving vision, your saving goals. You need to be on the same page. There's no compromise there. Where there's a compromise is around your spending. And yes, yay, I can say we don't have to have a shared vision with your spending. Let me tell you, yay, we don't have to have a shared vision with your spending. You need to have a shared vision with your saving, but your spending can be your own separate vision on how you behave and operate your life. Isn't that the coolest thing ever? What you need to do then is understand second date night, your core values, your financial values, and understand where you are aligned with your core values and where you need to compromise. Most of us are aligned, and we need to be aligned with our saving for future. We do not need to be aligned on our spending. We need to compromise. That is what a marriage is all about. It's about compromising and understanding your different values in spending. That's what a marriage is all about. It's about understanding and compromising our different values around our spending. How cool. That's date night number 2, is talking about your core values and your financial values. Date night number 3 is easy because date night number 2 was a lot of heavy lifting. But date night number 3 is actually pretty easy because all you're going to do at this date night is you're going to create a mission statement, your family mission statement around money. And what I would do is in this mission statement, it can be pretty easy to put together. And because it doesn't need to be spent time and arguing and, compromising, blah, blah, blah. No, it's your family mission statement and it's easy. You know why? Because the mission statement needs to have, it has to talk about how you have spending freedom today and how you're still going to be able to plan for tomorrow. Those two concepts need to be in your mission statement. And then you add in whatever else is personable to both of you. And then all you have to do is put that into AI. I use ChatGPT, and AI will create your mission statement for you. Done. Take that mission statement and put it in your bedroom. Put it on a wall, frame it, put it in your hallway, walking to your whatever. That's your family money mission statement. We all need to have that. And yes, coming up with the concepts, you need to today and tomorrow. What are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? Putting any personal information in there and then having chat write it for you. It's a really easy step. That's date night number 3. And then date night number 4 is when we get into the planning. And this is where we need to talk and we need to talk about the plan, and it needs to be revisited over and over and over again. Remember, date night number 1 is your money story. Date night number 2 is understanding your core values. Date night number 3 is coming up with your financial family mission statement. And date night number 4 then is coming up with your plan. We have a spending plan and we have a savings plan. Now, because savings is non-negotiable, for those of you that listen to me regularly, I tell you, you have to be putting away a minimum of 10% for your future retirement goals when you're old and you don't want to work. Okay. Those are your long-term goals. That's a minimum. Some of you need to save more than 10%. The point is that you put away money, non-negotiable for your future. Let's say you have some shorter term goals where you want to take a big trip 3 years from now. Well, then you need to save for that too. What you need to do is that's on top of your 10%. And you need to save for your future fun. And you create then a fun account, whether it's with your bank, your current advisor, with a new advisor, doesn't matter. But you create a fun account where you're agreeing upon how much money you want to put into this fun account so you can go to Italy in 3 years or whatever your future fun goal is. The thing is with savings, besides it being non-negotiable, it has to be your savings for your future long-term goals and or short-term goals needs to be on automation. It is something that when money comes into your checking account from your income, a percentage automatically goes out to your savings account. Okay. Out of sight, out of mind, you won't ever miss it. That's the first rule. Savings needs to be on automation. Secondly, even more importantly, is that you need to be held accountable. When there's two people that are different in personalities. We need to have a third party involved to hold you both accountable to your financial goals. It's having an advisor, a financial advisor that's going to help you stay accountable. Because of one thing through my experience over 2.5 decades is that holding someone accountable makes that you'll have way more money in your pocket and you'll never miss the money that you literally pissed away. Sorry for saying that. I didn't have another word. But really, you will be held accountable through a third party. It's where you get the biggest bang for your buck with hiring a third party. You will have more money because someone is holding you accountable. Okay. That's your savings plan. Now where the friction comes in and the challenges is creating a spending plan. But what's really fun, you should be super motivated to create this spending plan because it's your spending today. What I want you to do, and I share this all the time, is that after you've saved for your future, whatever percentage you're saving for your future, and after you've paid your taxes, the rest of the money is yours to spend. And I would love for you, if you want to have a healthy relationship with money and with your spouse, is take 20% of that net income and use it for your core values, like your fun bucket. 20% of your after savings and after taxes goes into a fun bucket, your core values bucket. Now, what you get to do with your spouse is take the core values side by side and understand which ones are aligned and understand which ones where you may have to compromise on. For my husband and I, we are aligned on 3 of our top 5 core values. We together take spirituality, health, and relationships and create what our individual meanings are under those core values. And we create a spending plan of whether it's costing us money to live out those core values or not. And if it is, then that goes in the fun 20% bucket, the core value bucket, right away, those joint core values. And then my husband and I share 2 very opposite core values. Mine is excitement and achievement. His is, what I already said, is creativity and privacy. Then what we have to do is understand, I understand his values, but I have to respect, because I choose to be in a marriage with someone that has a very different personality than I do. I have to respect his core values and understand that his core values may have a price tag to them too, and that needs to go into the fun bucket as well. And then the same thing for my core values that are opposite of my husband's core values. You guys, our core values are very different. Many times because we marry opposite of ourselves. We marry opposites because we're all trying to be whole. We look for things that we don't have and that we admire in a spouse. And, opposites attract, but opposites also attack. Instead of attacking, we have to understand and be respectful. So especially with our money, right? Our money is our oxygen to live our life. It's really about understanding the differences and then creating that spending plan. That is a lot of heavy lifting, but what's really cool is that heavy lifting actually takes that stress and it turns it into becoming closer with your spouse. That stress that we once had is so minimized that it makes us, as a couple, it makes us feel like we each, in our differences, we're more in control of our future. We are more in control of what we want. We are more control over saying no to some of the things we're doing today so we can say yes to our future. Like being together, connected with somebody that's opposite of you is a beautiful marriage. But it comes down to identifying those core values, respecting and understanding. Let me wrap up this podcast today. Core values play such an important role in our financial decisions for both today and tomorrow and the decisions we make. And we are very different as couples. So it's really about identifying, understanding, respecting, and having that proper communication. I'm going to encourage you all to do two things. Take the core value exercise. And I'm also going to encourage you within the next week is to have your first conversation, your first financial date night, your first money conversation to create an environment and a life that's worth living and enjoying. And those conversations are way better than the continued conversation around what's going on in the media and the news, right? We need to take some of this election conversations, this division that we all have, and create unity in our households. And that's the first step where we can start to create unity as a country.